helped us in understanding what happens to the child in the womb during an abortion. When he leaned over the majestic desk in the chamber of this temple of justice, and he asked a lawyer in one case, what does it mean when you disambulate the child, the fetus? Does that mean you cut off her legs? Yes, indeed, that was the answer. When a fetus dies from massive hemorrhage during an abortion, do you mean that the child bleeds to death? Yes. And so when we sever the arms and the legs and decapitate the nascent child in the womb when she bleeds to death, how does that relate to the treatment of our neighbor? None of us would want to be treated that way. And so today, we mourn the loss of so many to the disrespect of the sanctity of human life. So we're grateful for these young people here who represent a new generation that through common sense and sonography and other breakthroughs of technology reveal to us what it means to respect humanity in and outside the womb. Thank you for holding this wonderful memorial today.
Hi, my name is Andy Pearson, and I'm here on behalf of Silent No More. And I would like to thank Katie and American Life League for giving me the opportunity to be here with you today. And it is an honor to stand here and speak for those whose voice cannot be heard. The Silent No More Awareness Campaign is an effort to make public aware of the devastation abortion brings to women, men, and their families. We will no longer be shrouded in secrecy and silence, but rather exposed and healed. I am here today to share with you how my life changed dramatically the day I entered the doors of an abortion clinic 28 years ago and ended the life of my first child. I was young, I was scared. I thought I had disappointed my parents. So instead of turning to my parents for their help, I visited the local Planned Parenthood to seek their advice. I was led to believe that an abortion was the best choice for me. They made it sound so easy. I put my trust in them and I made that choice, not knowing or was ever told of the consequences I was about to face. The abortion procedure was extremely painful, and when it was over, I was placed in a room among other women. We laid in hospital-type chairs, and not one of us spoke to each other or even looked at each other. No office staff member came around to ask how we were doing, if we needed anything, or offered any comfort. The only time they came was to tell us when it was time to leave. As I lay there, an overwhelming feeling of sadness, loneliness, and shame came over me. And when it was my turn to leave, those feelings came with me. For months after my abortion, I would relive that procedure. The sounds of the suction, the pain. I would still see those women lying there in those chairs with their vacant stares. And the realization of what I had done started to become clear. Soon I became depressed, and alcohol and drugs became my comfort. They became my escape from the pain. I developed a promiscuous lifestyle, and held an inner bitterness toward men. I soon became someone with no feelings. I grew distant from the ones who loved me and cared for me the most, my family and especially God. I lost all respect for myself. This was the darkness I lived in for several years. I became so self-destructive. My parents and my sister started to travel to different churches and asking prayer groups and the priests to pray for me. And my mother herself had sleepless nights praying for me. I knew God was there. I knew He was calling and waiting for me to come back to Him, but I refused to listen. I was ashamed. I was ashamed for what I had done and what I was doing. How could He forgive me? It wasn't until the very lowest point of my life and the worst of times that I realized that there was nowhere else for me to go. There was no way I would be set free. And so when God extended His hand to me this time, I also reached out, and by His grace, I started to seek help. My journey back has been long and hard, and the conversion and healing didn't happen overnight. But this time, I put my trust in God, and I let Him work in me. He still has and had blessed me with wonderful people. There are those who help me in the various healing programs, and the first person that I ever went to, a priest, who we sat together, and he held my hand as I wept and we prayed. My mother's countless prayers and those who she asked to pray for me. My sister, who is here with me today to offer me support. The support of my son and my 16-year-old son and my husband. All these have been my gifts from God and show His tremendous and unconditional love. I have experienced His forgiveness, and He has healed wounds so deep that only He could heal. I share this with you today because it is my responsibility now to tell the truth about abortion and the impact it has. It is my responsibility to speak for those who are inflicted by the pain of abortion, our mothers, our daughters, fathers, friends, and those women that I shared that cold and lonely room with, to let them know that there is help, there is healing, and our God is a loving and forgiving God. I have a responsibility to my child whose life ended 28 years ago today. Not today, but 28 years ago. And I do this in his honor today. And it is my responsibility to be silent no more. Thank you.